Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Kay and it's time for more Teen Titans. This week we are covering the Light and Dark arc, otherwise known as the Trigon arc, because in a Teen Titans series, you gotta have a Trigon arc, and that includes Raven as well. Trigon and Raven were both introduced in previous issues, so now we're going to continue that story. And also some other plot threads that have been set up throughout the series, most notably the Amanda Waller and Agent Lance plotline that has been going on since almost the beginning of this series. So, without further ado, let's get straight into issue 18, written by Scott Lobdell, with art by Eddie Barrows and Eba Ferreira. The issue begins on a very depressing note, because in the Batman Incorporated series, specifically issue 8, Damian Wayne, the son of Batman, was killed. And so, in reaction, a lot of the writers writing different Batman-related titles with characters who knew Damian had to include Damian's death in their narrative. And so in Teen Titans, we have Tim Drake dealing with the death of Damian Wayne. It's hit him pretty hard. And it would matter more to me as a reader if I'd seen the two of them interact at all. But I haven't. Because they haven't interacted in this. They didn't even interact in Death of the Family. This issue tries to really push this idea that Damian and Tim really care about each other. It's the same thing that happened with Tim and Jason in Death of the Family, where they were trying to push this fact that these characters are really close, when in actual fact we haven't seen them interact at all within this continuity. Tim's beating himself up over this, saying that Damian should have never become Robin, because the whole point of the Teen Titans was to protect kids like him. So while the two of them hugging is an incredibly sweet and endearing moment, one of the few written by Scott Lobdell, it's also quite forced and doesn't make much sense. And obviously Damian is not there, Tim is just hallucinating him and hugging thin air, and Alfred comes in and has to comfort him. Alfred and Tim have a pretty lovely moment where Alfred asks Tim if he's told the Teen Titans about what's happened to Damian, and Tim's like, no, I haven't even told them what my real name is, they don't even know who I am. And Alfred is like, you know them better than I, but if I might suggest, there are more important things in the world than secrets. Thanks, Alfred. I'm glad you understand you are not alone in this. And then we see Damian's ghost, his Force ghost, waving at them. We then cut to the Teen Titans boat, because this is where their base is now, and I completely forgot that Superboy left the book right before Death of the Family, because he shows up in this. He didn't know that they had a new base, and I was like, oh, why doesn't he know? Oh, right, he left the team, and I completely forgot. I just forgot he wasn't here. I guess that really shows how good his character is, where I just completely forgot about him. He shows up in his costume. I don't know why he's wearing the Harvest suit still. He had a couple of other outfits. It's like they can't decide what they want his official costume to be, because he's just back to wearing this, even though this was his slave outfit. But because he hasn't been around, he doesn't understand that the Titans are trying to keep low right now. The reason why they have this boat is to keep their identities more of a secret. And so Connor just showing up in his superhero costume and just flying in is a massive problem that Tim is going to have a go at him about. Like, even Solstice can't go around wearing nothing like she usually does. She has to wear a hoodie and stuff because she doesn't look normal. And speaking of Solstice, she's thinking about the fact that her and Tim kissed earlier and she cheated on Bart, and she's wondering if Wonder Girl knows about that yet. She doesn't. Connor wonders if the Teen Titans have forgiven him for that whole fiasco where he tried to kill them, and it's like, are we still bringing that up? That happened ages ago. Like, we've had issues in the past where you've all gotten along really well, and then occasionally you just bring this stuff back up again, and Tim shows up and he's like, yeah, it's not a problem. Alright, we're fine. You've helped us many times now. We all trust you. I need you all to follow me because I have something important to talk to you about. And he brings them down to the computer room, and for some reason, everybody acts like they've never been in this room before. Like, for Superboy, it makes sense because this is the first time that he's been here. But in the last issue, when Tim was showing everybody the boat, he showed them this room. So why are they acting like they've never been there before? Tim's brought them here to get their goal back on track, which is to save teen metahumans. And there is one that he wants to go after named Tabitha Muntz, who has been kidnapped by the government. And apparently there are 3 different groups that are trying to weaponize her powers. And he brings up a picture of Agent Lance because he was the person she was last seen fighting, and Solstice recognizes him. And he's like, oh, I wonder what he has to do with this. That's the guy that told me that I could get my powers under control and return to my human form. Tim says that they have 72 minutes to find her. They're gonna head to Belle Reve, and he's like, that's enough time for us to figure out Belle Reve's layouts entirely. Like, what? 72 minutes to come up with a plan to infiltrate one of the greatest prisons in the DC universe? Meanwhile, at the United Nations, remember those 2 mysterious guys at the beginning of the last issue who were experimenting on children and taking their powers? There was one that looked really weird, he had all cables in his back, and then this other guy just looked like a regular dude and was a doctor. Well, they're both here now, and one of them is distracting the front desk lady while his brother is in the back going through all of these files, and he finds the file on Kiran, aka Solstice. Because she's made completely of light, he wants her powers. It seems like this guy is obsessed with stealing light-based abilities. I never got why her abilities were light-based in this continuity. Pre-Flashpoint, she did have light powers, like she would shoot energy beams and stuff, and she does do that, but it's more like dark powers in the New 52, because her appearance is very shadowy. She's got like a black shadowy form and dark energy beams. So her powers being described as light-based just feels a little bit more confusing here, given her design. Makes me wonder why they even bothered to change her design in the first place. We then cut to Belle Reve Prison, where Amanda Waller is looking through the systems trying to find Agent Lance, because he's gone missing, because we saw him get attacked by a metahuman in the previous issue, and that's when somebody infiltrates Belle Reve, so she calls the Suicide Squad to go and deal with them. So we got King Shark, Deadshot, and Harley Quinn. They all come together to find the intruders, and it turns out the intruders are the Teen Titans. So the Teen Titans and the Suicide Squad begin fighting each other, and while they are fighting, Tim sneaks into Amanda Waller's room somehow, and she draws her gun on him and is like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you sneaking up on me like that? And Tim's like, I'm not here to fight you, I'm here to make a bargain with you, to talk to you. Make a deal, one that will benefit everyone. While Wonder Girl and Harley Quinn fight each other, for some reason Harley compares herself to this teenager, especially saying that Wonder Girl fills the upper half of her outfit more than her. I was like, what are you talking about? You're an adult. Why are you talking about a child like this? The fight is broken up by Amanda Waller, who says that they are now going to be working together with the Teen Titans. But Tim points out to Amanda Waller that they will not trust her because the Titans don't trust anyone except each other. But at the same time, they don't really trust each other because they're constantly holding secrets from one another. In fact, it's immediately proven that they can't trust Tim because he lied to them again. There was no girl at Belle Reve for them to save, and that he's going to talk to them about it on the way back. Like, what are you doing? Why do you keep lying to your friends? The secret identity is one thing, but you don't have to lie to them about quite literally everything. We then cut to Times Square, where we are reintroduced to that kid from the coffee shop in the last issue who killed everybody with his mind, and for some reason he looks way older in this. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be around the same age as the Titans, and yet he looks like he's in, like, his, like, I mean, because of the gray hair, he looks like he's, like, in his 50s. What age is this character supposed to be? A taxi driver almost hits him, and so he gets mad at the taxi driver and kills the guy, and then everybody's just like, whoa, what is that? And they look up in the sky, and Trigon shows up. That's right, Trigon just appears. Like, what the hell? It just feels so sudden. Is this really how we're starting the Trigon arc off? Just with him randomly showing up on a two-headed horse? The next issue begins with Cassie threatening to beat the shit out of Tim unless he tells them why he took them to Belle Reve, why he lied to them about what they were doing at Belle Reve. Which is fully understandable, but we are 19 issues into this series and this team is still having problems. We're almost at the end of the first series and they're still not working properly as a team. They still don't get along. Bart tries to hold Cassie back and says, just let him talk, and then if whatever he says isn't something that we like, then I'll help you whoop his ass. And Miguel tries to convince everybody to just let Tim talk, because in the past, there has been good reasons why he's kept secrets. I wouldn't 100% agree with that. Some of his secret keeping has just been downright stupid, like how he won't tell Connor why they decided to help save him. Tim continues to disappoint the team, saying that he won't tell them anything, they don't deserve to know any of his secrets, and that they are his team, and that they must do his bidding, and that's it. They can't expect anything from him. And then he leaves, and everybody points out the fact that he's acting really weird. He's not acting as he usually does. Like, he's pretty bad when it comes to secret keeping, but he's never been like this. He's never been this much of an asshole. It's dialed to 100. But we don't have time to deal with that, because suddenly the sky has turned red, and Cassie's armor starts going on the fritz, and she knows that it's Trigon. She just knows that it's Trigon, because her armor has some kind of connection to Trigon. The only real hint that we've gotten of that is when they went to the burial site where she found her armor, there were signs of Trigon's cult there. But yeah, now it's establishing that she has a direct link to Trigon, so she just flies off to go find him. She's like, oh, Trigon's trying to take over the world, like I've told y'all in the past. And we see Trigon in the city, just riding through it on his giant horse, killing people. And then we see the kid from the coffee shop who, his real name isn't revealed, but we do get his villain name, Simon. Simon is a long-time Titan villain, and here he has been reimagined as a young teen. Yes, he is a kid. They referred to him as a kid. The last issue was very confusing because of the way he was drawn. He is a kid. He kills this poor woman because she's just trying to hide from Trigon, and he doesn't want to share his hiding spot. And Trigon sees that and is like, you're a very powerful kid. You are killing people, and Trigon has power, so I could use your help. And then Wonder Girl flies in and punches Trigon in the face, and Trigon's just like, Trigon is really mad. That hurt. That actually really hurt when you punched me. Dude literally gets sent falling on his ass from one punch from Wonder Girl. This is supposed to be the devil himself. Or at least one of them. There's, like, multiple devils in the DC universe. But he's usually depicted as one of the biggest ones. He does get right back up and grab Wonder Girl, and he starts taunting her, saying that he knows about her father and how he abandoned her when she was a kid, and that she doesn't know the truth about her father. But before he can say anything else, Superboy comes flying in and smashes him, and Bunker attacks him from underneath with his bricks. And then Kid Flash grabs Superboy and pulls him away from Trigon because Trigon was about to use his beams against him, his eye beams. It's like, saved your life right there. And Superboy's like, I gotta survive those eye beams. Tim's also here, and he asks Wonder Girl who that is, and Cassie explains that it's Trigon, and that he's here to cause the apocalypse and kill everybody. And then we cut to Beast Boy, Gar, who was a member of the Ravagers that became a team after the culling. They've been a team in their own series this entire time, and Deathstroke then attacked them, Slade Wilson, and destroyed their entire base. And don't know what happened to the other members, but Gar is the only one left. And that is when Raven appears in front of him, and I much prefer her without her mask in this series. I would prefer it if her costume was just this, or maybe just add the hood. She senses that her father is here, and she's like, why has he come and invaded Earth without me? Beast Boy's just like, can I ask what the hell's going on? And Raven apologizes to him, saying that she didn't mean to bring him into the fray so soon. And then she just takes control of his mind and plans on using him for her father. And so Trigon is fighting against the Titans, using Bunker's own bricks against him, while Cassie tries to break him free. And Tim just is standing there, watching them, trying to figure out. He's like, oh, Trigon's pretty powerful, eh? I wonder how we're gonna stop this guy. And Kid Flash is like, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to be helping our friends. If you're just gonna stand here, then I'll go do it myself. So he runs in to help his friends, and Trigon starts throwing memories at Bart. He can see himself in the future on trial, and he's like, why the hell am I on trial in the future? And at the same time, Solstice goes and finds Simon and starts talking to him, trying to convince him to work with them because he's a metahuman who's having a hard time controlling his powers. But he believes that he's supposed to be this all-powerful villain because Trigon convinced him that power is what matters most. Raven and Beast Boy then show up, and Beast Boy has all these tentacles. He starts grabbing everybody, so they're all stuck in his tentacles, and Simon demands that Beast Boy unhand him, and that is when a bunch of soldiers just show up out of nowhere and start shooting everybody. The Solstice just gets shot, falls to the ground. Simon gets really mad and attacks Beast Boy with his powers and says his catchphrase, drop dead, and he kills all of the soldiers in the vicinity, and Beast Boy and Simon's powers collide and they knock each other out. So much is going on right now. It's insane. It's insane to keep up with everything. So all these soldiers have died, and the Titans are just like, what the hell? So was this Trigon's plan this entire time? Was to bring us here and then make it look like we killed all these soldiers? And Raven shows up and is like, I don't condemn violence. Like, I don't condemn killing. Not even in my father's name. But yeah, he's basically doing this, and then once you lose all your loved ones and everything, he's gonna take your souls. So she says that she doesn't support murder unless it's her father stealing people's souls, because that is murder. The Titans are obviously pissed that Simon has killed all of these soldiers, especially Solstice. She wants to beat the guy up, and Simon is like, hey, stay away from me, don't treat me like the bad guy or I'll make you drop dead. And before he can finish his sentence, Bart just comes running in, grabs him, smashes his head into the ground, and is like, don't you dare finish that sentence. And Superboy pulls him off and is like, hey, whoa, Bart, calm down. You don't want to end up being like him. Like, you don't want to go too far. You're gonna kill him. Wonder Girl and Raven already have beef beginning, where Wonder Girl's like, oh, she's the daughter of Trigon, so she must know his plans or where he is, so let's get that information out of her. And Raven is like, I may be my father's daughter, but I'm not exactly on his side. I more so want to ally myself with you, so stop talking to me like that. Bunker and Tim defend Raven, with Bunker saying, like, just because she's his daughter doesn't mean she knows where he is. And Tim is like, Bunker is right. Besides, she looks as shocked as the rest of us by what's happened. I'm like, no, she doesn't. You think that looks shocked? She's got no emotion on her face whatsoever. When all those soldiers died, she kind of showed up and was just like, oh, these guys are all dead. I don't condemn murder. But she said it pretty plainly, not like she was shocked or angered at the deaths of all these people. She's more angry about the way that Wonder Girl keeps talking to her than she is about all of the innocent murders. Meanwhile, Trigon's having a lovely get-together with his 3 sons. Belial, Raskoff, and Suge, and a lovely time with them for him is torturing his sons. He has one of them hanging from the ceiling by chains. The other two are fine, they're just kind of chilling. They are angry that Trigon favors Raven, and they ask him why, and Trigon explains his entire origin. Well, not his origin, but Raven's origin. Trigon was a young demon one time. Even though he never ages, he was youngish at one point, where he's on his throne and he used to oversee all sorts of kingdoms with an iron fist. He would kill a lot of innocent people. And it got to a point where he didn't want to do it alone anymore, so he started using deception and love to have children. He has 3 sons, and then for the first time ever, he had a daughter. He's like, yes, I finally have a daughter, and I can use her to my whim. But he didn't want to raise his daughter the same way he raised his sons. The way he raised his sons was without love or anything. He wanted his daughter to witness love because it would make her more powerful when it came to ruling the world, which is what her destiny would be. So he gave Raven to her mother and kept her mother alive, which is the first time he's done that. But her mother turned against him and disappeared with Raven, which is not what Trigon was expecting, and they took refuge in Azeroth. So this is basically the original origin of Raven. Her origin up until this point has been pretty much exactly the same as the original. Her mother taking her away from Trigon, the two of them living in Azeroth, which is where she learns how to use her abilities, and I like that the cloaks are the original cloaks that Raven wears. But because Trigon is currently looking for her, Raven would eventually leave Azeroth so that none of her friends and mentors would get hurt by Trigon. She fled to Earth, where she spent a bunch of time there, and eventually she was found by the Phantom Stranger, who gave her over to Trigon again. This is where we divert from the original origin. Phantom Stranger gives her back to Trigon, and Trigon starts putting into her head this idea of ruling the world, and so she joins him in all these battles where they kill tons of innocent people. She has an ebony blade, and she's just killing people with it. Unlike Trigon, she doesn't care for killing. She doesn't like it. She only does it to please him, because that's all she wants to do, is please her father. But he can sense that she's doing it not because she wants to, but because she feels she has to. And while she is determined to take over the world like her father wants, she doesn't want to do it alone, which is why she has come in contact with the Teen Titans, because she's hoping that the Titans will help her take down her father, and then she will take over the world after that, and she will use her powers to control them. But if she fails to control them, then she'll happily destroy them. At least that's what Trigon believes. And that is when Belial breaks out of his chains and tries to attack Trigon. Trigon just throws him into a wall and is like, you should be glad you're my sons, because I wouldn't have taken that if it was anybody else. I would have just killed them outright. He then sends his 3 sons off to go and deal with the Titans. Meanwhile, Raven continues to say that she has no idea what her father is doing. All of his machinations are a mystery, even to her. And Cassie believes that she is lying. It's like, I don't need this armor to tell me you're in league with Trigon. I have no reason to lie to you, so please, get your finger out of my face. A traffic copter then arrives, and Raven uses her powers to conceal everybody's identities so that the chopper won't see them, because they're worried that they'll be taken into the authorities or something. Bunker and Beast Boy reunite because Bunker helped save Beast Boy during the culling, so they have a little bit of a reunion. Wonder Girl just wants to go back to questioning Raven, and Tim is just like, let's hold it off for a sec. For the moment, Raven's the closest thing we have to an ally. And he has a hard time getting his next sentence out because what he sees is Raven launching herself at Cassie to attack her. She's just gone crazy all of a sudden. Cassie fights back, punches her in the face. Like, oh, you're not as powerful as I thought you'd be. And Raven's just like, oh, I don't even know what came over me. And Bunker's like, maybe it's them? Maybe they're the reason? And it turns out Raven's brothers have shown up, ready to take over their sister's role. One thing I don't get about this issue is the cover, because it straight up lies to the reader. Because the cover makes it look like it's evil Robin, like Tim Drake has taken out all of the Titans, he's got this weird mask on. That doesn't happen at all. If you're gonna do a clickbaity cover for a comic book, at least have it relate to something that's actually in the issue. And so the Titans face off against Raven's brothers, and Tim tells his teammates to do Pattern 6, which is some kind of team formation plan that he came up with off-panel that they all happen to know. They know exactly what he's talking about. He even turns to Superboy and is like, you know what to do. Superboy uses his tactile telekinesis to send the three brothers flying, and Bunker and Wonder Girl grab one of them and head off. Kid Flash and Solstice grab the other one and head off with them, and Tim, Connor, Raven, and Beast Boy, Gar, stay behind to fight the final brother. Each of the brothers do different things. One of them has an axe, one of them shoots lightning out of his hands, and the third one does something that we will talk about later. Beast Boy turns into a T-Rex in order to block the lightning fire hands of one of the brothers. And Raven reveals that she can cover herself in something that she calls her soul self, and that if they cover somebody resistant with it, they might be able to beat up her brother really well. And Superboy's like, oh yeah, Resistance is my middle name, so give it to me. And so Raven covers him with her soul self, and he becomes like a Smurf-ass looking version of Superboy. And he just runs in, flies in, and punches her brother in the face. Meanwhile, Wonder Girl and Bunker fight the other brother in Central Park, where Bunker puts some brick armor on himself, which is pretty cool. But this demon brother is pretty powerful with his axe, and they're struggling against him. At the same time, Kid Flash is beating the shit out of one of the other brothers, and he's like, so one of you guys has an axe, the other one can shoot fire out of his hands, so what do you do? And this brother is like, you'll see soon enough. And it's revealed that his ability is to control minds, and so he takes over Bart's mind just as Karan shows up. Meanwhile, Amanda Waller is trying to control the damage done to the Titan's image by erasing all of the footage that makes it look like they killed all of those cops. I don't get why they would think that they did. It's very clear that Simon was the one that did it, and it's also pretty clear that he's not on their side. I guess they didn't have footage of Trigon talking to Simon and convincing him to go on a rampage, which is unfortunate. You'd think Amanda Waller would have footage of everything, because she's just kind of that person. Nah, she only has the footage when it's relevant for the plot. Superboy continues to fight against one of the brothers, but before he can do anything, his hands get cut off. Robin comes in and cuts this demon's hands off, but the guy's like, it doesn't really matter, I can just grow them right back. And so they continue fighting, and Beast Boy and Raven have a bit of a conversation where Beast Boy is like, you might be the only one who can stop your brothers. And Raven was like, yeah, maybe, but of all the time that I've spent alone, I don't know if I can fight them anymore. And Beast Boy's like, well, you're not alone anymore, you've got us, so now you should be powerful enough to take out your brothers. It's kind of weird how quickly everybody trusts Raven when Tim has spent this entire series not even trusting the guys that he's been with for a while now. The Axe brother is revealed to be colorblind when he says that Wonder Girl's lariat is gold. It's very clearly red. It's always been red, but I guess now it's gold with a red hue. And then Bunker comes in and just dumps a whole shit ton of bricks on top of him, crushing his head. This doesn't kill him. I mean, it crushes his head, but he's gonna grow it back. Karan tries to get through to Bart, who is under mind control, and this scene doesn't last very long because Bart gets hit in the head with a bit of rubble and then snaps out of it and he's all good. And the demon controlling him passes out because, according to Bart, he couldn't control his mind for very long because Bart's mind is moving too fast, even though it was a piece of rubble that broke him out of the mind control. If that piece of rubble hadn't hit him, who knows how long he would have been under his control for. Also, Bart and Karan just start making out because, yeah, this is the perfect time for that. You know, the world is falling apart, the apocalypse is happening, but sure, just have a little makeout session. Tim and Connor are struggling against the final brother, and that's when Raven rips his heart out. Yeah, she just rips his heart out. He's not dead. He will get his heart back. She says that he will grow it back very quickly. Just not quick enough for these brothers to be relevant to this story arc anymore. Yeah, that's right. We're already moving on from Raven's brothers. They've all been defeated. And Trigon just shows up out of nowhere. And not only that, he also mind controls the Titans immediately. Bunker, Connor, and Kid Flash just all fall under his mind control. And Wonder Girl too. I don't know why he also didn't mind control Tim and Beast Boy. I guess for story reasons. Maybe we'll find out. Pretty out of left field ending to this issue. It's not even like it was a good surprise or anything. There was no build up to this. It just suddenly happens. Raven, Tim, and Gar fight against the evil Teen Titans who are under Trigon's control. Raven showcases a new ability where she can multiply herself using her Soul Self abilities. She tries to get through to the different Titans, which includes Bart, where she looks into Bart's soul and sees that he's done evil things in the past. So we're once again bringing up Bart's mysterious past. And Bart's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're not going to bring up those memories. Then evil Bunker just runs up to Raven and grabs her head. And at the same time, Beast Boy turns into an octopus and grabs Trigon's head. He says gotcha nose, but he's got like half his body. Trigon is able to just throw him off, and then Tim comes flying in and is like, wow, Beast Boy's pretty cool. He was able to grab onto Trigon with his octopus tentacles. I'm just a silly little boy with inertrite wings capable of cutting through anything. In theory, anyway. He just sounds kind of stupid here. He's like, oh, I'm just little Timmy with my dumb plot armor wings. And they really are plot armor wings because he just shoves them straight through Trigon's face. He just stabs his wings through his eyes. And Trigon, no joke, is literally like, what the fuck, man? Like, I wasn't expecting you to stab me in the face with your wings. Well played, Red Robin. I wasn't expecting that. I had everything under control. I had a plan for every single instance. Except for that, I wasn't expecting somebody to stab me in the face with some wings that can cut through anything. And then he leaves. That's right, he leaves. This is the second story arc in the series where the main villain just pieces out. Trigon really couldn't get... He really couldn't take getting stabbed in the face, even though it didn't really do anything to him. He was like, oh yeah, you guys are way too powerful, I'm out of here, bye, and he just leaves, and then that's it, that's the end of the arc. Everybody is just out of Trigon's control now, they're all okay, and that's it. And so Miguel wakes up and is like, hey, we better fix all of this destruction that happened throughout the city. And then the woman from before shows up. I thought it was Amanda Waller. It's not Amanda Waller, it's just a woman who looks exactly like Amanda Waller, who also works for a mysterious organization. They take Simon in, forgot about Simon, he's been unconscious this entire time. They take him away, they say that they fixed everything, that they've wiped everybody's memories of this whole instance, that it will all seem like an illusion to everyone, so now the Teen Titans are clear. Miguel somehow recognizes her, and this woman, who is a character we have not met. I think this is just a hint at who this could be, who this character is related to. She says that she had a debt to the Titans, and now she's paid it. and that she hopes that they don't see each other again, because if they do, it'll probably be during the end of the world. And then she leaves. The Titans head back to their boat base, where Raven becomes an official member of the Titans. Also, she has a bikini here. I don't know when she got that. She's not really had human clothes outside of that cloak that she wore for a very brief period of time. Maybe this is Wonder Girl's. I'm just going to assume Cassie lent it to her. Cassie points out that Raven belongs on the team not just because she helped them, but because she has parent issues just like the rest of them do. And that makes me think back to Cassie's mother, who hasn't been relevant to this book ever since that one time she showed up. Also, after a closer look on the next page, it turns out she's not wearing a bikini. She's actually just wearing a regular outfit. She's got pants on. Or shorts. In this shot here, it looks like she's wearing a little skirt. That's the shot where I thought she was wearing a bikini. And then in the page after that, it looks like she's wearing pants. Raven agrees to join the team, and she tells Tim that she thinks Tim is incredibly brave for being able to overcome Trigon's influence, because everything that happened to Tim recently was because of Trigon, including him making out with Cassie and Kiran, which is something that the rest of the team didn't know about. So Raven just leaves after dropping that bombshell and goes off to her room, where she meets with her father, because it turns out this is all Trigon's plan for her to join the team. I'm guessing it's going to be another 30 issues of Teen Titans before we see the resolution to this plot. Meanwhile, everyone else is now upset at Tim, even though Raven said it was because he was under Trigon's control. Bart just beats the shit out of him and then runs off, which is assault. Cassie and Con also leave, and the only one who seems to be somewhat rational about this is Miguel, the only person who wants to give Tim the benefit of the doubt. I don't like Tim Drake in this series often, but it wasn't him. He was under the influence of Trigon. Kiran, on the other hand, doesn't really have that excuse, as Bart points out when she goes to visit him and he's locked his room. He's like, yeah, Tim has this excuse of being controlled by Trigon, but what about you? You kissed him back. This whole thing is complicated as hell, because it's like, yeah, Kiran kissed Tim back, but at the same time, she was assaulted by both Tim and Bart. So the whole thing is just really iffy, and Bart's still in the wrong. That is when a mysterious guy shows up in Bart's room and reveals that his real name is Bartor, and that he will show Bart the truth of everything, and he takes Bart home. He says he's going to take Bart home and show him everything, and so he pulls him through a portal. So it looks like we are finally beginning to get into the Bart Allen storyline that we've been building up to this entire time. Cassie arrives just in time to help stop Bart from being pulled into this mysterious portal. She tries to use her lariat to save him, but she's not strong enough to pull him out. Miguel grabs onto her and stops her from being pulled into the portal with him, and then he grabs onto a nearby wall, but then he starts getting pulled in, so Beast Boy shows up and grabs onto Miguel. I guess Beast Boy is a member of the team as well. They didn't really give him a proper welcome to the team like they did Raven, but he is an official member now. Solstice grabs onto Beast Boy, and then Connor shows up, and Tim tells Connor not to attack the people trying to grab Bart, but instead attack the portal with his tactile telekinesis. Which he does, and he frees Bart and everybody from this portal. They're all good. And Bart even apologizes for taking a cheap shot at Tim. You know, character development, I guess. I'll take whatever crumbs I can get. And then Raven kind of dampens the mood, which is like, personally, I think certain grudges are healthy, but there are a lot of things I realize I don't understand about people. Meanwhile, in the 30th century, a group of guys have infiltrated this base and killed everybody in there. We don't know these guys' names. We see a couple of the members. They all hate Bart Allen, and they want him dead. The Titans are kind of confused, just wondering what that portal was even about, and Raven's like, I think I know. Those people were trying to grab you, which means you have some kind of history with them. And Salsa's like, back off! And Bart's like, nah, she's not wrong. I can sense that I've done something wrong, I just don't know what it is. If only I could remember. And Miguel's like, yeah, we believe you, Bart. And Raven's like, do we? And it's like, yeah, that's cheap coming from the person who is currently working for her father secretly. And Tim's just like, speaking for me, when he's like, can we not deal with this drama right now and just have some fun in this book for once? Gar and Miguel chill out in the pool together, and Miguel's like, man, I wish you were a part of the team weeks ago when things were fun. And I'm like, when was anything ever fun? You went from nowhere to the culling, to Wonder Girl's crazy ex-boyfriend, to Trigon, to this. There has never been any proper downtime, or any moments that you would consider fun. Beast Boy's a real edgelord, where he's like, trust me, amigo, after everything I've been through, this isn't that bad. They say God never gives us more than we can handle. Try saying that after you watch your friends die in front of you. I don't believe in God. Like, man, what a downer. You know, Tim's like, hey, let's go have fun back at the ship, and fun for Beast Boy is just saying shit like this. Miguel then gets a text from his sister stating that Gabriel is awake. Remember the guy that was in a coma because of Miguel, apparently? Well, he's awake now, which is great news for Miguel. Still don't know how he ended up in a coma, but woo! Meanwhile, Cassie's having a moment to herself, chilling on a rock, when Connor comes over to have a conversation with her, and Cassie's like, I learnt things about my father from Trigon. What kind of things, though? Like, we didn't really learn anything about him, other than he left his family, and that he might have some kind of relation to Trigon. We don't know. Are we gonna learn more about her father? I doubt it. I'll be surprised if it actually gets brought up. Instead of comforting her about the whole father thing and this whole revelation, Connor just decides to bring up Tim, because of course he has to bring up the love triangle between the three of them. And they proceed to have a pretty awful conversation between the two of them. It is kind of adorable the way you don't really have a filter between what you feel and what you say. Is that a design flaw in my character? No. It is kind of awesome. But about being possessed, as someone who has been inside the silent armor for a while, the truth is you don't do anything you don't want to do. It just gives you permission to be who you want to be. Do what you want to. So you're saying you wanted to sleep with Red Robin? Yeah, he's hot. Who the hell wouldn't want to? Me? For starters? Oh. Wait. Like, who talks like this? These are not real human beings. Has Scott ever had an actual conversation before? Look, Con, can I call you Connor instead? This is the first time she's ever asked him that, and considering that Connell is a derogative term for clones, I'm surprised it took this long to ask him if he was okay with being called that. She then proceeds to say that Tim doesn't own her any more than Diesel did, assuming that he did own her at all, which is just weird. The way she words it is just real weird. I'm a big girl, I make my own decisions. I always have. I can do whatever I want. And what do you want to do? And then they make out. One of the worst build-ups to a relationship ever. Especially because there practically was none. Yeah, they flirted a little bit when they fought each other ages ago, but after that, there wasn't really anything. Tim and Raven then just have a conversation about the team where Tim's like, everybody has something about them that correlates with one another, and it's why we're such a great team, and he lists off everybody except for Skitter. And Raven points this out. At least I think she's pointing out that he's not mentioning Skitter. She's like, aren't you forgetting somebody? And he's like, I don't think so. Like, have they forgotten that she exists? Is that a part of the plot, that her existence has just been wiped from everybody's memories? I guess we'll find out. Because she just disappeared during the culling and we haven't seen her since. And they've barely even talked about her. He then goes on about how much he loves Raven, like, as a teammate, and how great she is, and how much he trusts her. And it's so ironic that he trusts Raven the most out of anybody, when she's the one working for her father still, and he doesn't even know. He trusts her so much, he thinks that she would be a great leader if he would have ever stepped down. She's been a member of the team for 5 seconds. Though, to be honest, I wouldn't trust any of the other members to be leader either, because most of them don't even get along half the time, and are known for making terrible, irrational decisions. Tim then says, alright, that's enough talking about that, let's get talking about nowhere, and he starts researching nowhere again. You know, the organization from the beginning of the series that we haven't really talked about since. Yeah, we're bringing that back up again. Meanwhile, Karan is flying behind Bart as he runs across the ocean. He's pretty depressed about everything that's going on in his life, about his missing memories and the mysterious dude that tried to pull him into a portal. And Solstice stops him and tells him that he is amazing and that she really cares about him and that they will work together in order to make sure everything is okay, and then they make out as well. But their makeout session is cut short when Miguel shows up and is like, hey, I've got something important to tell y'all. So, this is the love of my life, Gabriel. He is my beloved, and he's just woken up from a coma, so I'm gonna go see him, which means I'm leaving the team. That's right, Bunker leaves the team in this issue. He's not a Titan anymore, he leaves. My favorite character has left the book, which does not serve well for the rest of this series. From now on, I'll basically be reading this series for the sake of the channel. I like Solstice. Solstice is cool. I'll continue reading it for her. But that's kind of the only other reason now. The next issue starts us off in the deep end. Some stuff has happened off-panel in another book. Forever Evil is going on right now. I will be covering that event later when I get back to covering The Flash. But yeah, Forever Evil issue 2 came out, and during that issue, the Titans were sent into the time stream by Johnny Quick. And so we start the story off sometime before Miguel became Bunker, before he joined the Teen Titans. He is praying to God to tell him why his beloved ended up in a coma, and why he was given these powers, and how he needs to use them. Can he send him a sign? And that is when Tim Drake from the present day shows up and is like, you don't know who... He doesn't even say, you don't know who I am. He just assumes that this Miguel knows who he is. He just starts talking about Teen Titans and stuff like this guy's supposed to know. He's like, yeah, we got sent into the time stream by Johnny Quick, and we're all in trouble, and I just need to tell you that you need to get on this train at this time and meet this guy named Tim Drake. But don't tell him anything that I have told you. So it's revealed that future version of Tim is the reason why Miguel joined the Teen Titans in the first place. He is the reason that he met Tim. It's so weird and confusing. And Miguel's just like, I'll take that as a sign. Meanwhile, in ancient Egypt, the Centurions, who are a race of aliens, are planning on attacking Earth, killing everyone, take it over. And Tim is there, and he's waiting for Connor and Cassie to arrive because they've been sent to ancient Egypt. They arrive, and Tim's like, how quickly can you take out all these Centurions? And they're like, yeah, we'll take them out pretty quick. And so they take them out really quick. They just fight against them, take them all out. And at the same time, Cassie is still complaining about being a Teen Titan. She's like, I never wanted to be Wonder Girl. I never wanted to do any of this. I never wanted to fight evil organizations from other planets and Earths and shit. It's like, man, they need to start calling her Winder Girl because of all the whining that she does. And Superboy too. He just brings up the fact that he's glad that he's not in a chamber anymore. That he's not in a test tube. And then we see a big shot of the Titans all falling through space and time, different timelines, and it's revealed that if they stay too long in the time stream, their bodies will eventually fall apart and they will die. So they gotta stop that from happening. We then end up somewhere in the galaxy in the future where Solstice and Kid Flash have ended up on a ship, and apparently there is a stowaway on this ship with them. And there's also 2,000 soldiers on this ship. And Bart recognizes this ship. He's seen memories of it. And so he goes to meet with himself. Because apparently he is on this ship. And so we meet Bartor for the first time. This is Bart's true identity. And he has blonde hair, not brown. So it means that Bart dyes his hair. And Bartor is planning on killing everybody on this ship. Like, he's gonna cause the ship to malfunction and then get away so that all the soldiers on the ship die, because apparently they're owned by the government in the future that he comes from. and the government is like really bad, and they, stomp on people's necks is the way he describes it, and he wants to stop them from doing that. And Bart tries to convince him not to. He's like, if you do this, we will never see her again. And he mentions somebody named Shira. And Bartor doesn't listen to himself. He's like, go away, leave me alone, I'm doing this for the benefit of everybody. And that is when Bart and Karan are pulled through another time rip, while Bartor claims that he is better than them. That's why they die, while I liberate a galaxy. So it turns out, Bart's done some pretty heinous shit in the past. We're finally learning why he's considered why he's considered a horrible criminal. Meanwhile, in the 12th century, Raven is fighting against Etrigan the demon, because Etrigan hates Trigon, and he knows that Raven is Trigon's daughter, so he's trying to kill her, and that is when Cassie shows up and just cracks his neck? She cracked his neck, right? She just killed Etrigan. Like, what the hell? Cassie then explains to Raven that Raven is the only one who can save everybody, who can pull them out of the time stream, because she was brought up within dimensions. So because she existed between dimensions, she is the one who can control the energy of time and restore everybody. But it requires the Titans giving her their souls. So they willingly give her their souls so that she can save them from the time stream. And that's exactly what Raven wanted. Because that's what her father wants, is their souls. So she now has the Titan souls, and she's like, Father, I have exactly what I wanted. Will you love me now? May I come home? We're left on that cliffhanger as we go into Annual 2 of Teen Titans, which continues this story. If you thought the previous issues were a mess, you haven't seen anything yet, with Annual 2 being just such a mess. Wonder Girl, Robin, and Superboy all end up in a future timeline where the Batcave has just gone to shit, and Batman is dead. It's one of those really dark, depressing timelines where Cassie walks over to a test tube and sees his dead body. At this time, Raven is trying to lock onto everybody's souls so that she can bring them all together. So in the meantime, we get to have this great little adventure. So we got dead Batman in the test tube, and then we got dead Alfred, who is just a bunch of ashes on the ground, which is just messed up. So yeah, lovely beginning to this story. And then they see a hologram of Batman, where they learn that this timeline, all the superheroes are dead, or most of them are. And they were killed by somebody who will be revealed later. That is when the three of them are suddenly transported to the Watchtower by Gar Logan, aka Beast Boy, a future version of him. He's not red anymore, he's got green fur, so we know that that's going to eventually happen to him in the present. He does eventually go from red to green again. Tim even says that he looks so much better now. Gar says that he is now the leader of the Teen Titans and that they are the only superheroes left alive, and he introduces them to the Teen Titans, who are co-led by his wife, Rose Wilson. That's right, Gar and Rose are married, and they have a kid who is called Red, who is basically just a rip-off of Nightcrawler. There's this other character here named Blur. He's the guy shooting beams out of his hand. And he's the only other character worth noting because these other characters don't do anything, so I'm not even going to bother to name them. Blur recognizes Connor and blames Connor for killing everybody. He just goes up to him and is like, I'm going to kill you because you murdered everyone. And Connor's like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't murder anybody. So they start fighting, and Blur gets knocked out by Rose, and she takes him away, and she tells Gar to give the Titans the rundown. But Connor leaves because he wants to get some fresh air after what he's just been through, and Cassie leaves as well because she wants to go and look around the ship and do a little bit of sneaking. While Connor is outside, he suddenly gets attacked in his mind by somebody who refers to themselves as John, and so he goes to find this mysterious John person talking to him. Meanwhile, Tim learns from Gar that the one responsible for killing everybody was Superman's son. That's right, Superman has a son. His son died some time ago, and then he came back somehow and started killing all the superheroes. And Connor is not a clone of Superman. He is a clone of Superman's son. That is the big reveal. He was never a clone of Clark Kent. He was a clone of Superman's son, who will be revealed later. Cassie tries to get into the Watchtower computer room in a bit of a humorous moment where the security system doesn't know who she is and doesn't classify her as a member of the Titan. She keeps saying Wonder Girl, and it says, like, there's no Wonder Girl. And then she just breaks through the door, and the system is like, oh, that Wonder Girl. Proceed. Which I thought was a bit funny. I think this is the funniest joke that Scott Lobdell has done in the book so far. The bar was low, though. Connor flies through space looking for this mysterious John, and he gets attacked by him and ends up on the moon. And it turns out that this is John Kent, Superman's son. He's alive, he killed everybody, and now he's gonna try and kill Connor. And so the two of them start fighting throughout space. And Connor wants to kill John because John killed all these people and Connor is being blamed for it. And so he sees it as the right thing to do. So he throws John into the moon's core and fights him inside of the moon's core. This is the second time that Connor has fought somebody within a bunch of molten lava. Connor points out that whenever he's in close proximity to John, he actually is more powerful because he's his clone. We then cut back to Tim and Gar, where Gar tells Tim that he needs to go back to the past so that he can change the future. And Tim's like, why do you trust me to do this, and why should I trust you? And Gar says, it's because you're the only person who trusted me enough to tell me your real name, Tim Drake. So it's revealed that in the future, Gar knows Tim's real name, and this is enough to get through to Tim. Meanwhile, Cassie's in the computer room. She sees a hologram of Tim just appear in front of her that says that the team is going to be betrayed by one of their own. Cassie, Khan, Raven, Garfield, dead, murdered, one of her own, betrayed, family. The only members that he doesn't mention are Bart Allen, Miguel, and Celine. And Karan too. So it seems like they are the possible suspects. And then he disappears and a mysterious person comes up behind her, and this person is revealed to be Raven. Tim Drake walks in on Raven and Cassie just chilling together, where Cassie doesn't even remember Raven coming in, so it's like Raven did something to her. I don't know. And Raven reveals that she's got to get them all together, and they got to find Bart and Karan as soon as possible. Also, what is Connor doing right now? And we cut back to Connor and John as they keep fighting. They end up bursting out of the moon, and Connor grabs John and throws him onto some spikes. I think it's supposed to be the spikes on top of the Watchtower. He just stabs them through John, and John is dying. And Connor is about to finish him off when he just gets teleported away to be in a Superman event that we're not going to be covering on the channel because it's Superman and this is supposed to be Teen Titans. But yeah, Connor just gets written out of the book right here, right now. And then John's body is found by Gar, barely alive. So he brings to the hospital room to Rose, and Rose is like, are you sure this is a good idea? And Gar is like, yeah, it's the only thing we can do that can stop John from ever becoming a bad guy. So what they plan on doing is they plan on tricking the Teen Titans into believing that John is Connor so that they bring him back into the past to be Superboy, and that hopefully that will stop him from becoming evil. Pretty convoluted plan for Gar to come up with. And that's exactly what they do. The Titans arrive and they tell them that this is Connor and that he's going to need to stay here for a bit. He can't go with them right now because he's in bad condition. And Wonder Girl doesn't want to leave him. Cassie calls him Khan now, even though she previously asked him if she could call him Connor. She's just back to calling him Khan again. She says goodbye to Connor and that they're going to come back for him eventually. And Raven, Tim, and Cassie all leave in order to find Bart and Karan, while Gar and Rose are left behind thinking, wow, was this a good idea for us to trick them like that? And I guess we'll find out. For now, that is the end of this video, because next time we're going to be covering the trial of the Kid Flash, the grand finale of Scott Lobdell's Teen Titans series. That's right, it's finally going to be over. The final 5 issues and the final annual. If you can't tell, I'm just happy to get to the end of these issues because the Trigon arc was a mess, and then we just ended up dealing with this timeline bullshit I just didn't care about, like this evil timeline and stuff. Most of this felt like filler. I was expecting there to maybe be at least one cutaway to Karan and Bart to show us exactly what has happened to them, but we're just gonna have to wait until the next issue to find out. But overall, I hope you enjoyed this video. And let's hope that the trial of the Kid Flash is a little bit more cohesive than the stories that we've been dealing with lately. Please hit the hype button below because it will help my channel grow. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. And I will see you next week for more Teen Titans. Have a good one.